Hi, everybody. This is the luck we had. Have you missed us?
Hey.
Hi.
Hey. It's Pride Month, so we wanted to at least record once. This is a shameless recap podcast. We record when we can.
It's busy these days.
And this is
Listen,
for us.
our lives. Listen.
Listen.
It's not.
Lena has been living a documentary kind of life, as has Evan.
When I told it, I really needed to kind of chill.
When Evan tweeted, I got hit by a car again, I was like, yeah, no, sure.
Almost. Oh, no, okay.
Actually,
I almost got hit by a car this time. I did get hit by a car in January. This time, I missed, but then I still fell.
You dove out of the way. Yeah.
I dove out of the way, busted my fucking knees up, and then I went to the firefighters, and they said, "Fix me, please."
It was right outside. You said it was right outside the fire station. I actually think we were texting about something at the time, and then you were like, "Hold on, I just got hit by a car."
No, I literally was. I was yelling to you. I voice memoed you about yerba mates, and then a minute later, I got hit.
Yes, because I was telling you to buy. I was
The Red Bull
telling Evan
tincture.
to buy energy syrup because there are no
I can't drink
yerba
coffee
mates
anymore.
in your area. And I was like, that they sell syrup concentrates that have yerba caffeine in them, right?
And then as those messages were coming in, I was on the ground.
I got hit by a car.
And then Lena has been living a life trying not to die in a plane crash. Yeah.
These hurt, dude. They hurt so bad.
Yeah.
It has been eventful.
I can't talk. I can't talk about what's been happening in my life because it's private and personal.
I'll go on Twitter and you guys will be
it's
like, tee hee hee hee, and then I'll text
really
you both
bad.
and be like, are you good?
He's like, hey, we good?
Are you good? And then it's like, well, so no, but I can't talk about that. But other than that, I work. I have a freaking 9 to 5.
You got a big boy job.
As to you, Cam.
Oh my god, it has been eating me alive. I've had multiple 11-hour days in the last week, and it
My
is
goodness.
slowly
For
killing
festivals?
me. No, everybody that works at my job is not working at my job anymore. And then all of a sudden, the morning and the evening needs to get covered, and I'm the one doing it. So
Right.
Yeah,
You're running the place.
It's rough. It's rough
Yeah.
out here. But I will be taking a PTO day in August to finish my tattoo if I have to. So
Awesome. And Evan works every single day.
Yeah.
I'm
You
working.
work a lot.
Last week, I normally, I clock in averagely 5 days a week, but sometimes my schedules will do that weird overlap, and
Well,
I
it'll
will
be
work
you'll
7
have
days in a
7
row.
in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this, I'm working 6 in a row, so I'm working this week. I'm doing Sunday to Friday, so
Damn.
dude, I'm cooked. But I took off. It's because once you hit summertime, I want my fucking weekends. I want my weekends. So I've been taking weird Saturday and Sundays off. So then sometimes the next week will fuck me over. But I'm like, damn it, it's gonna
But at
pay
least I
off.
got my Saturday.
Yeah. So this weekend is Pride. So I was like, well, duh, I have to work every other day but Saturday and Sunday. And then next week I have some buddies coming into town to stay with us. So I was like, I need that Saturday and Sunday to stay with us. I mean, to be off. But God, dude, Monday through Friday sucks. It sucks so bad. I can't do it again.
I work Wednesday to Sunday, and then the season of shows end, and we switch back to being Monday to Friday through the summer just to get everything prepped for the next season, and then I switch back again. So at the end of this month, I'm working Wednesday to Sunday, and then immediately Monday, Tuesday.
No.
So I'm taking, and then we have off for the 3rd, the 4th, and then the weekend. I am taking off Monday, Tuesday. I'm actually, I won't be working 7 days in a row. I won't be doing that.
No, 7 days is rough. Once you hit day 5, you're like, fuck, I have 2 more after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Monday, Friday. But I've been doing a lot of traveling, and I think I'm gonna end up hitting 2 prides this month.
Nice.
So I'll be probably somewhere this weekend, and then I think I'll be traveling at the end of the month, maybe.
Nice.
No more planes though. I can't go through the mental anguish again.
Yeah, I'm literally just I'm getting 2 different tattoos. I've got my one. I'm getting another one on Monday. And and then at the end of the summer I'm going to finish it. And I bought tickets to 2 Phillies games, and that's my
Hell
summer.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have I'm not doing really anything this summer. Like, I'm trying to plan to go to LA at some point this year, but I haven't figured that out. The only other,
Do you want to come with me?
Yeah, because that might overlap, because I was about to say the only other trip is when I'm coming up for your birthday.
Well, so I'm going to LA for my actual birthday, and then you're coming after my birthday, but it's the week after.
I don't know if I could do that back to back.
No, it's a lot of traveling, and then I still don't know if I'm gonna go to Toronto in the beginning of August. I haven't bought any tickets yet.
Oh, you still haven't bought the tickets for that?
No, but I really want to go.
Go to Canada.
So,
What's Toronto
just
for?
do it.
Just to go?
TV on the radio is touring right now, and I'm convinced that, well, and maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like after this tour that they do, they're never gonna tour again, because they kind of unofficially broke up in 2014 because one of their members passed away, and they sort of just started touring around this year because it's the 20th anniversary of their debut album.
Oh, fuck.
So I just feel like they're not going to tour again after this. I mean, they all still make music solo. I don't know.
No, it's giving the vibe that it's the band's last hurrah, because it's as you
or if they do tour, it's just going to be a major city. Not really. I mean, they're already really just going to major cities. Because the closest they're coming to me is Chicago or Philly or Toronto. And the conversion rate's cheaper in Toronto, and it's the same amount of driving, and Toronto's on a Friday instead of a weekday. So
are they doing stadiums?
No, pretty small venues. They're not that, I mean, they never really played stadiums, to be honest, but they are playing with LCD Sound System a couple shows on the West Coast, and then they're doing a couple of the same festivals. So they're oh, we're playing with LCD Sound System, and those are much bigger venues, amphitheater style. Because I also think LCD is supposed to release a new album this year, but they have not put a date on that because they're fuck you, it's done when it's done,
Yeah.
And you know what? Their music is really fucking good, so I respect it.
All right.
Yeah. This is the year of seeing bands for me, because then I'm going to Car Seat Headrest in September, and that'll be the second time that I see them.
I've only gone to 2 concerts this year so far, and that's all I have so far. That's it. I don't have anything planned. No one else is going on tour that I care about. The only band I do care about...
You're going to LCD Sound System.
Oh, yeah, duh. I forgot about that.
Zoe did Joe,
now.
And she's doing My Chem, obviously.
I'm
My
so pissed
Chem, yeah.
My Chem again? Yeah. Where are they playing?
In Philly in August.
Are they a solo tour?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, fuck. I didn't realize they were, doing another round. I thought that, big fucking tour they did, a year or 2 ago was, their big,
No, they're still.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw... the 2 bands I saw are so drastically different from each other. I saw Kraftwerk earlier this year, and then I saw Fontaine's DC, which was dope.
Mm-hmm.
So dope. But I'm pissed because Turnstile's going on tour, and you know what's crazy? There's literally not a Maryland show.
Yeah, and aren't they from?
They're literally from Baltimore.
That's
and it
crazy.
pisses me off is that because...
And Blake Anderson's gonna be there.
Are they doing DC, Philly, New York?
They're not even doing DC. They're only doing Philly and New York as the closest 2 places to me.
That's crazy.
I low-key might try to do Philly because now that I have Mr. Boy, I could be I'm going for a concert.
When you're in Philly on a weekend and if you don't want to spend all the time with Mr. Boy, tell me or Zoe that you are here.
No, when I tell you that 24 hours
this man,
was
right?
24 hours was booty call central, or I would have told you something. You guys would have known I was going to be there if there was any other prerogative for that trip than
She told me that she texted you too, that we were both hello?
You're what are you guys, you're what the fuck are you doing?
Are you
in Philly?
here?
And I was you don't want to know, actually. But,
I can guess.
But I don't know. I'm just pissed because a couple weeks ago they did a free show at this park in Baltimore for Turnstile, and it looked so dope. But it ended up coincidentally being literally the same night as my Fontaine's DC show when I had.
This is why they're not doing. This is probably why they're not doing a Baltimore show, because they already did one for free.
I didn't get to go,
so it doesn't count.
Which is why you have to be a groupie and follow them.
All right. Well, I'll probably go to Philly's show then. You want to go to a hardcore show, Cam?
No.
All right, well, I'll be
with
in
love.
Philly.
My friend Ellie would maybe go with you.
In Philly?
Honestly, maybe. She texted me a while ago and was like, do you want to go to Portugal? I was like, I have a job. So no, I can't. So maybe she would. Actually, I don't know where she's working right now though, because I know she has a job like somewhere, but it might not be in DC. But she usually lives in DC.
Because I'm just so mad about the Baltimore part. Like, you piss me off. It's September 19th.
From there, not doing a show there is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to hook you guys up with each other.
The Hallmark Skyline stage at the Man. Does that sound familiar,
clue.
Cam?
Oh, the Man, yeah. Yeah.
Is that a good venue?
It's like a little bit outside. It's like an amphitheater sort of situation.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's like indoor
Awesome.
seating, and then there's sort of a lawn area back there.
They're playing Ohio. They're playing
Where?
at Kemba.
Kemba's where LCD is.
Oh, dope. Okay, so it seems like they might be doing like an amphitheater tour.
Well, Kemba's weird because like Kemba has an inside or an outside.
Yeah, that's the same thing for the
So-
Man.
Do you think we'll be inside or
Yeah.
outside?
It'll be outside probably. But like the outside is like all standing room. There's no seating.
Is that
Same
what
with the
we're doing,
inside.
standing?
Yeah, and we will be doing barricade because I feel serious about
That's more than fine with me.
it. But yeah, I mean Kemba's pretty big. Like, but there is a big lawn like part too.
We have an
but
amphitheater
it's mostly like pit.
in Maryland. It's called like Merriweather, which is like the big like outdoor with his like it's on a hill where you like stand, or you can be like there's actual seats and then there's also standing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we were going to the Newport. That's my favorite venue here because it's inside standing room and it's like big, but it's not too big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the perfect size.
That's how I feel
think.
about the Anthem in DC. Like I've seen some awesome shows there, and like that is probably one of my favorite like standing venues I've ever gone to because no matter where you stand, you can still see the stage. Like it, which
Yes,
is like nice.
yeah. Love that.
Love. All right, hey guys.
Talk about Shameless.
So let's talk about Shameless. This is going to be a Lena heavy episode. We're doing season 7.
Get excited!
We're doing season 7, episode 7. You'll never ever get a chicken in your whole entire life. Let's see if I actually put the whole title on the podcast episode. But we're getting through season 7. We're chugging our way through the season that
It's
is
not
7.
that it's not good. It's that we're really busy.
Busy. Emphasis on busy.
And there's no Mickey, so we're a little bit less motivated.
Oh, well, listen. So I've been since our friend 911 went off the air, our frenemy. I have been diving way back deep into Shameless World, and when I tell you guys that like going back to the beginning of this series, there is so much to explore there that I'm like I keep going back and just thinking and I get to add awesome nostalgia points to it because I was there when it was airing, but I'm like, this is like the best show that ever aired, maybe.
What would be so fun is if you were watching an episode and you had a thought and you could pull up the podcast episode and be like, did I say that? Have I had this thought before?
Well, I wasn't on I didn't officially start like
Yeah.
hosting or anything till like season 3. So there's nothing in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I guested here and there, but yeah, there's so much there, especially in like Ian and Lip world that I've been living in lately.
It's like so interesting to like watch it again and like still
Yeah.
catch things I never caught the first time, and being like, what the fuck?
Oh, like, yeah, me and my friend Sydney are uncovering meta that's never been uncovered before, and we're literally like,
You two and this
we're gatekeeping, and we're gatekeeping.
No, you two and
I
this
can't
show,
even talk
I'm
about
like,
it on the podcast.
No one has
I'm
thoughts.
gatekeeping.
No one has had these thoughts before that I've ever seen, and then I just like you tell me what you and Sydney talk about, and I'm like, I'm terrified of you two. Like I feel like this is like a secret that like I feel like the
We're
fandom
corn
doesn't
plating to the
deserve
next
know.
level. Like, Cam, the way that we
I love you so much for putting so much more thought into this show than any of the writers ever did.
but they did though, is the crazy thing. Like, some of this stuff that I mean, and maybe it is just nostalgia points, like I'm going back and being like, wow, but at least their characterization is super consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the like Frank and Monica, each kid being sort of assigned being a Frank or a Monica, and like then the determining factor of like, okay, do they follow the cycle or do they actively break from it?
Yeah.
Has been really interesting to look at.
It was interesting too of like
the seasons.
Them falling into being either Frank or Monica. Okay. It was interesting seeing them fall into the either being Frank or Monica because like Ian was Monica and Fiona was Frank and Lip was Frank and Debbie was Fiona. Like that sort of trickled down in a way.
Well, Debbie was Fiona, but Debbie was also Monica. Debbie's an interesting one because Debbie's Monica, but Debbie is also very clearly the like more of a product of being Monica's daughter than Fiona was, because Debbie has mommy and abandonment issues, and that's why she purposefully gets pregnant, because she creates a person who can't leave her child.
Yeah.
That she makes effectively a mini-me as well. And she's literally doing this to deal with her Monica issues. And this even goes all the way back to season 1 when she's like playing with baby dolls.
Yeah. And stealing a baby like religiously devoted to motherhood because she's dealing with these like mommy issues. Because I think in the show they established in season 1 that it's been like 2 years since, maybe even only they say that Monica took off. Liam was a few months old. Liam was
They say they say Fiona was 14, Lip was 11, Ian was 10. Carl and Debbie were like 5 and 4 or 7 and 6 or something.
How old is Liam when we start the show?
He's supposed to be 2.
Okay.
Liam is the one, and then they say that Liam was only like a couple months old.
Yeah.
So
it's like Monica weird because came back, dropped off a baby, dipped again.
Basically, yeah. Because they do say that like Frank does mention literally in the pilot that Fiona was 14 and had just gotten her appendix out. Lip was 11, Ian was 10. And then I think he says Debbie and Carl were like 5 and 4 or 6 and 5 or something. Or he even says like 7 and 5 at one point, and I was like, well, that's just not right.
Let's remember the ages never mean anything in this show.
They don't. And like for a second it was really making sense because I did write out the whole timeline at one point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, it's like, okay, the show might have taken a year off, but in season or in story, it's like only been a couple months or something.
And then you remember that Carl aged 3 years while Ian remained 17 and that 2 babies were born and nothing matters.
The babies being born is the craziest thing. These pregnancies is crazy. But damn, this show is good as fuck.
I'm going back to I'm rewatching Queer as Folk right now, and I haven't done a full rewatch of that show since I was 14 years old, and I found it entirely on YouTube. So I'm rewatching it, throwing back to being 14 years old watching this show. Shouldn't have been, by the way.
No, literally how I feel about Shameless. I should not have been watching this show.
I was like a freshman watching this show, bro.
This came before Shameless, and it was like so much raunchier and like explicit gay sex over and over and over and over again in every single episode. It's
yay.
Like, one of the main characters gets rimmed in the first episode.
Let's go! Yeah. Hell yeah.
And why can't this happen to my friend Mickey?
And it's like a 29-year-old Brian and a 17-year-old Justin. And, like, their age difference is the point the whole time. It's, like, a driving force of a lot of the story throughout the whole thing. So some people try to throw it away because of that. And I'm like, but it's the point. It's the whole conversation. That's sort of the entire fucking point.
They're not saying it's a good thing necessarily. They're just saying that it is a thing that's happening.
They're just pointing it out.
And you see like Justin, the 17-year-old, being the pursuer, like over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's they do a weirdly similar thing in Shameless actually, because I just read the pilot script recently, and like they mention in the script that like with Ian and Cash, that like Lip comes to understand after talking to Ian that like they're in a very real quote unquote relationship.
Yeah, well that's Ian's
because
whole thing.
Ian is like, because Ian's like, I buy him stuff.
Yeah,
I get him. I want him to like the things I like. Like they're in like a relationship. And then when you think about Cash, like they don't give an age for Cash, but you can sort of assume that he might be younger than we think.
Yeah.
But he also has children that are at least like 8-10 years old.
But he's also
30s, maybe.
Yeah.
But he's also not white.
Yes.
So, no, he might even be like in his late 20s.
Yeah.
Because Linda looks pretty young as well.
Yeah. The thing that throws it really with Cash is that he is his boss. Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And then Lip, but like, and then the only thing Lip says about it, like to critique it, is just he's married.
Yeah.
That's literally all he says. He doesn't say anything about his age until later.
Well, that's sort of encapsulates
and he doesn't say
it too,
anything
though.
about
Like,
him being
he is married with children. Like, that's a grown
I know, and
man.
Ian's legit like 15 in the pilot.
He's not that much older than some of Cash's kids. Like,
no, he's really not.
Ew.
So there was some crazy stuff being cooked up back then.
Lena is Ian Gallagher maxing.
I'm literally Ian Gallagher maxing, but like, oh my god, Karen actually makes me really upset.
Yeah.
Karen's whole thing, like, she was evil, but she had a lot of really fucked up stuff happen to her.
Yeah.
And they didn't explore enough the impact of like having Sheila's, like, the impact that Sheila's agoraphobia had on her as a young child.
Yeah.
They like mention it here and there
shitty,
later.
Abusive dad, and then you've got a mom who like basically isn't there. Like,
yeah, because when Sheila comes in and she's like, "I'm sorry, I never went to any of your things. I'm sorry, I was so crazy when you were little." And then now for Sheila to like be moving past her agoraphobia when Karen's older and out of the house, and she's really doing it because of other children. Because she first breaks through for Liam, and then for Jaime, and it's like, if I was Karen, I would be really upset.
Yeah. Why not me?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same way that Fiona feels when Monica takes care of Debbie and Carl when she's in an upswing, and she's like, "And what about me? And why not me? And what about me?
And why never me?" And that it's because it was never her. The story that Fiona tells in the courthouse about sitting on the curb with Lip and Ian has a fever, and she ran to the clinic with him, and he could have died. Guys, you're gonna have to hold me back.
Yeah.
Frank Gallagher, you need to die. Like,
oh, okay. I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this.
Yeah, let's talk about like where we're currently at, which is season 7.
Yes.
This is 707. You'll never ever get a chicken in your whole entire life, and it aired November 13th of 2016. It was written by Nancy Pimentel, who is Shameless Mother.
Yep.
This is the 16th of 26 Shameless episodes that she writes.
She is around.
Yeah, we'll go through all of them, though. 103, Aunt Ginger. 108, It's Time to Kill the Turtle. 111, Daddy's Girl. 203, I'll light a candle for you every day. 207, A Bottle of Jean Nate. 211, Just Like the Pilgrims Intended.
Big Monica.
302, The American Dream. 312, Survival of the Fittest. 402, My Oldest Daughter. 407, A Jailbird Invalid Martyr Cutter. 411, Emily. 501, Milk of the Gods. 506, Crazy Love. But actually, on our notes, on our notes it says 506, but then the title is Tell Me You Fucking Need Me, so I think she actually wrote 507. Okay. 602, Abortion Rules. 608, Be a Good Boy, Come for Grandma. 702, Swipe Fuck Leave, this episode. 802, Where's My Meth? 808, Frank's Northern Shuttle Express. 901, Are You There, Shim? It's Me, Ian. 906, Face It, You're Gorgeous. 910, Los Diablos. 1002, Sleep Well, My Prince, for Tomorrow You Shall Be King. 1007, Citizen Carl. 1102, Go Home, Gentrifier. And 1111, The Fickle Lady Is Calling It Quits. She's low-key Fujo Mother. A lot of these are, like, Galavich or Monica or Fiona heavy episodes.
Yeah.
She also wrote the Ian and Mickey, Kevin V, and Lip Hall of Shames.
Yeah.
I actually think she wrote all of them.
I think she wrote all of them except the Fiona one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There might be reasons for that.
Yeah.
And then it was directed by John Wells, who is John Wells.
Yeah.
We don't need to...
He's having a moment again right now because everybody's like, oh my god, The Pit. Let us never
Pit.
forget. He makes good television. He is a shit man. He is a shit man.
I also feel like he can't see it through to the end always.
He always leaves.
He's kind of like it's not even much about the leaving, but like the quality dip sometimes too, because it's like he's kind of Tim Minear in that in that realm where it's like
bored.
really, really good when it's good, and then when it's bad, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
not great. But he's John Wells, and he created or adapted. He's responsible for adapting the show from the British drama. The synopsis: Fiona learns that owning a laundromat is costlier than expected. Frank helps Liam get into a plush new school after his old one is permanently shut down. Meanwhile, Debbie cleans up her act and grows closer to Neil. The previously on was done by Lip, saying, I was in rehab, but I still managed to watch Shameless. What's your excuse? And previously on Shameless, Kev saw Yvonne and Svetlana fucking. Svetlana admitted that he's her husband, not her father. Frank got defenestrated by his homeless shelter family for scraping money off the top of their donations. Lip is scraping money off the top of his illegal unpaid internship company, but they got shut down for good, finally. Debbie is engaged to Sierra's mentally and physically handicapped brother Neil. Fiona bought the laundromat, and Trevor is trans. Ian wants to hook up. And it's literally always Trevor is trans. But literally in the previously on, it every time it starts with Trevor being like, I'm trans. Yeah. I'm packing, whatever. And Ian wants to hook up, but both of them are tops.
Yeah.
So they're kind of at an impasse there.
Yeah. You were so right. You were so right that Trevor is a version of Mickey that they tried to put back into the show. Like
Trevor is, but it's I think it's that Ian represses so much of how he feels about Mickey because in his head it's an impossibility that they can be together. So instead he either tries to perform normalcy, like with Caleb, where he's trying to change himself to be more normal, and he's keeping a lot of parts about his family and his past secret, or he's looking for Mickey in his partners. And he finds this in Trevor because Trevor's a little bit of a hothead.
A little feisty.
And he's a little bit more of a friend than Caleb is.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's like Caleb, I think, was Ian running as far away as he could from the idea of Mickey.
Yeah.
And then when that doesn't work out, Ian's like, I don't know, Ian sort of like falls into this thing with Trevor, but I think he very much sees Mickey in him.
Yeah.
And that is also why, like, because Trevor reminds him so much of Mickey and he hasn't fully quit the idea of Mickey or gotten over him, when Mickey comes back, there's like no hesitation from Ian.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 seconds.
It's 2 fucking seconds and he's cheating.
Yeah.
Like,
Mickey will always be the one. He will always be the top priority. I don't know what to tell you. He is that girl.
Well, and they do something really interesting, and I can't wait for you to see this, but they do something really interesting with them after Mexico.
Yeah.
Between Trevor and Ian, where there is sort of this acknowledgement of like, I'm not Mickey and I will never be Mickey, and I know that you're looking for Mickey in me.
Yeah.
So their relationship sort of like develops differently.
Turns
it's
weird.
So fascinating to me how they could.
They never get very close again. Ian is like trying to win. He really does try to win Trevor back, but I do think this is just to like, I think again it's to like perform normalcy.
Yeah, because then he like remember he houses that person
to perform
and Trevor's
goodness.
Like, that's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
This show like just shot itself in the foot by they spent so many seasons building Ian and Mickey, and like they kept trying to rip it up. They kept trying to be like, and we're sending him off, and he's in jail, and he ran away, and they're over here, and they're over there. But like there was nothing they could ever do that wasn't them. Like everything came back
and,
to
like,
them.
And the thing is like looking back at it now, the way that it ended up how it did, like where they did get to come back and have like their happy ending, it feels very epic and sprawling. I do understand because I was there when it was airing live, like how it felt week after week with them trying to sell Trevor.
Yeah.
As Ian's like, and it's not even like they really were trying because Trevor doesn't even get a last name, by the way, or a family. So it's not like they were trying like super, super hard, but
it's like you said,
to use Trevor to make Ian grow. It felt just like really,
but like the very second Mickey
draining.
becomes a possibility, who's Trevor? Like,
oh yeah, but even then, like Trevor and Ian fall apart in season 8, in a very abrupt way because of the gay Jesus thing.
Yeah.
And like the fact of it is that like I can understand sort of, not really, maybe Trevor's like point of view here, because he's like, well, you're using my kids and putting my shelter kids in danger to push this movement that's basically about your ego.
Yeah.
But then when you go and watch the gay Jesus thing, it is like everyone pushes Ian in this direction.
Yeah.
They're
And,
like,
No,
they're
they're
telling
like,
him
go
what
do
he
it,
is.
dude. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, hell
and
yeah.
anybody who
Yeah.
knows him like Mickey knew him would take a look at that and go like, this, hey, there's something, you're going manic. Like, I can see that happening to you. I can see this building.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, like, so with the family, nobody realizes until it's too late.
Because they don't pay attention to him.
But even then, like, the mania isn't as obvious as it was the other time, because Ian is like, it's for a cause.
Yeah.
And it's a cause that is very just. And this is like what, Geneva brings this up when Ian's deciding whether to plead guilty or not. She's like, if you plead guilty and you tell everybody that you're bipolar and that you were manic, you've ruined our entire movement, because like no one's going to take what we say seriously if you say that you were insane when you were saying it. So like the mania in season 8 is sort of like this weird gray area, because it's like he was very much manic, but he was also definitely pushed into it by people urging him on. And because it's a positive cause, I think that's why, like, and obviously like Lip and Fiona don't really like pay attention to him like that. I have so many thoughts on this that we just can't even get into.
Before we further go into it, because I'm just gonna ugh every time we bring up Trevor in this episode. I do sort of feel bad that we're like bashing on the one trans character that this show has ever given us. Evan, do you have anything to add?
I'll go fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Trevor's like, the thing about Trevor is like, I think personally for what it was, 2016 wokeness, I think he's great representation.
Absolutely.
And I think it's awesome that I don't like him as a person, like as a character.
See, trans people
like
can
I think
suck
that's great,
too.
because I'm like, wow, we have a trans character who I don't like, but not because he's trans. I literally just
awesome.
don't like him.
I don't hate him because he's trans. I hate him because he just fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
No, but like 16,
and we'll get into what he does
like
this episode that pisses me off.
17-year-old me like definitely popped a boner when he showed up on my screen. Like, do not get me wrong, but he fucking sucks.
Yeah. Okay,
so
go for it.
All right, so we start off the episode with Ian and Trevor in bed. Trevor begs to fuck Ian just once, but Ian turns the tables on him and wants to fuck him.
Yeah.
But then they just end up like jerking each other off, I guess.
Fraudage.
Downstairs, Fiona is on the phone arguing with like somebody that she needs to pick like something up. She's like, you told me like it would be ready this morning. We don't find out what it is till later.
Yeah.
I
think she says the sign on the phone.
Okay, interesting. I must have missed that. But she's picking up, I'll just say it. She's picking up a banner. She's picking up a sign. Liam comes downstairs and she's getting ready to take him to his first day of elementary school. Liam, so they walk out and she's talking to him. And she holds his hand, and then Liam stops her and wants to walk by himself, but Fiona says no, and he's like, it's only 2 blocks, and so she decides to let him
I know
go.
your message came, you were like, yes, Liam getting lines.
Liam has a lot to do this episode.
What she should have done that would have eliminated Liam's entire storyline in this episode is let him walk like a half a block ahead of her and like follow him to school.
If I'm being honest, he's still such a baby to walk to school alone. Like, yeah, 2 blocks isn't the worst.
If it's his first day of elementary school, he's 5 or 6.
Yeah. I don't think my parents let me walk because I lived like
too far away
from my school.
I rode the bus.
I don't think my parents
I was
me
a bus
walk
kid.
to school until 4th grade, 5th grade on my own.
I think the first time I ever
Probably
walked to
after
school
that.
was in like middle school. Like that was like 7th or 8th grade.
It's because I
Even I was still
legitimately lived 2.5 blocks from my school. Like it took less than 5 minutes
I lived, like,
from the front door of my
a
school to my
mile.
front door.
Like a mile and a
Yeah.
half.
Well, they're Gallaghers.
They're Gallaghers.
That's a baby.
They're Gallaghers. And this is the last season that we have before Christian Isaiah is recast as Liam.
Okay.
By the way, at the Morton house, so Sierra and Neil's apartment.
Yeah.
Debbie is prepping for her DCFS inspection and fucking up their whole entire household. She's like throwing knives into different drawers and like she like pours out their cleaning supplies, but she makes like mustard gas in the sink because she's pouring out ammonia and bleach. And Debbie also says that like one of the rules is that Franny needs to have her own bedroom to pass inspection. So she proposes that they move Franny into Lucas's room, and Lucas is like, "But
He's like,
what is this
out.
permanent?
I mean,
like I like my room."
I've never obviously had no experience with DCFS. 2 children sharing a room would not be that objectionable, I don't think.
There might be different rule about baby.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But but this is just what
I
Debbie
think you're
says.
right. I think because
and
it's
Neil,
a baby, there might be like more like regulation.
Yeah. And Neil keeps saying that Debbie is being a bitch, and Debbie's like, "Shut the fuck up, Neil." And she makes him go get dressed so she can continue her. She's got like a lot on her to-do list that day. She has to go drop out of high school, and then she has to get married to Neil, and then they have to finish prepping the house for DCFS. Back at the Gallagher house, Lips. So this was in the previously on. I forgot to mention this. When the company got shut down, Lip was like out walking the boss's dog, that little Pomeranian. So Lip kept the dog.
Yep.
So the dog wakes him up and he talks to it for a second, and it's sort of like a nothing scene, but he's just like, you can't stay here forever. Like,
Yeah. You want to
like,
look a little lower?
Are you thirsty? Yeah. Then we go to Liam. He makes it to the elementary school, but finds it locked. It's closed, and all the students are to be bused to a different school. But Liam can't read, so he doesn't know this.
No.
But there is a sign on the door. After taking the dog out, Lip returns back to the house and runs into Ian and Trevor, who are leaving. And Lip immediately asks if Ian got rid of, quote, the dude with the lady parts. And Ian says, well, so this is Trevor.
This scene is so funny.
It's actually really funny because he's like, what was his name? And then Ian's like, because they walk in and Ian's like, hey, this is Trevor. And then Lip goes, oh, nice to meet you. Hey, Ian, did you ever get rid of the dude with the lady parts? What was his name? And Ian goes,
Trevor.
And then points at Trevor.
Lip looks him up and down, and he's like, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me the angriest about Trevor is like he could have been charming in this scene. He could have giggled and been like,
okay.
No, I know what you mean. Like to Lip, and like, because he obviously did not mean it with any malice. He could have been fun about it, but instead he was annoying about it.
I slightly disagree with you. I think he was fine in this scene because he's like amused because Ian did the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And Lip's like, wow, you look real. And then Trevor just goes, yeah, you look real too. And I think that's like funny. Yeah. And Ian's the one freaking out and cringing and being like, dude, you can't say that. He's being woke, Ian.
Yeah.
And Trevor's like, hey, this one's catching on. Maybe he can teach you a couple things.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was very well intentioned. And even as they walk away, like Trevor's laughing.
Yeah.
And Ian's like head in his hands. Like he gives Lip this like dirty look as he turns around.
You're right. The lines play along. Maybe it's bad acting. Maybe that's what I'm reacting to.
Maybe. Yeah. But yeah, woke Ian. They invite Lip to come with them to breakfast, but he can't because he has to go to work at the diner. And then he checks Trevor out like one more time before leaving. At the high school, Debbie is...
There was a sprinkle of bi Lip in this episode. A tiny little sprinkle.
Oh.
Yeah.
For those with eyes to see,
yep.
Yes, these monuments. They're being constructed right in front of our eyes. Because we already had that conversation where Lip says he's like 96% straight.
There's a comment that he makes later in this episode too that I was like, hello?
I actually do find it like super, super, super interesting that Caleb is like, okay. No, I can't get into this. We should get into this after the recording because I will go on a tangent for 10 minutes about Ian and doing what other people want him to do. Anyway, at the high school, Debbie is waiting in line to drop out. And the counselor, like, half-ass tries to convince her not to, but she's like, shut the fuck up, I know my options.
Points
like,
to her baby.
yeah, she's like, DCFS is gonna take my baby, and I need to drop out, and blah, blah, blah. And he convinces her to take the GED. She says only if she can get it done before noon, because her and Neil have an appointment at the courthouse to go get married. And then Liam comes back to an empty home, and then as he, like, opens the door again to leave again, to go find Frank, the dog, Lip's dog, sneaks out.
Yeah.
And runs off. And this is Liam's big adventure. Meanwhile, at the laundromat, Fiona hangs up her under new management banner, and says good morning to Etta. And she tells Etta that she cut out her blue hair.
The banner also says 2 loads for the price of 1.
Yes. Yeah. So awesome.
I knew you would like that, Evan.
Yeah.
Love that. I forgot I had to say something that I was just making movements.
It honestly reminded me of your tweet about Buck and Eddie never using condoms in 6. No. And they don't, and they shouldn't.
Why would they?
Like, that came to my brain because it's like I saw like a screenshot or like an excerpt of like someone reading a fan fiction about them, and it was about like Buddy about to fuck, and Buck had suggested to Eddie to not use a condom, and Eddie was like, that is disgusting, that is so irresponsible, that is so crazy, like, oh my god, I can't believe he would suggest this. And I was like, why are we villainizing hitting it raw? I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, this is so weird. So then I knew like the propaganda meme, and I was like, dude, fucking Buddy's not fucking raw, dude. I mean, not fucking with the condom. Are you kidding me?
Literally, like, meanwhile, in the 27
loads... And in fact, it's not even a question. Yeah. And then they're not even asking.
In the 27 loads fic, it's literally just like, everybody that comes to this club has to get STD tested. And now we're done with the conversation.
Yeah, dude. You got all your green check marks, you're fucking good.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I need to go get tested.
Yeah, poor.
Happy Pride!
Hot boy summer.
Yeah, Fiona tells Etta that she cut out her... I just thought this was funny that she's like, Etta, I cut out my blue hair. Like, it was so visible.
Yeah.
Like,
the one
literally
the
one streak on the underside of her hair. It's like, sure.
It's literally Emmy going like, don't put those back in. Don't put those
and also because it's not just like it's so noticeable, and also because it's so edgy. No.
Girl.
It was 2016. Everyone had crazier hair than you, girlfriend.
Everyone had blue hair and pronouns. We have blue hair and pronouns on Shameless. One with blue hair and one with pronouns. Etta is watching Maury and calling the women whores. And Fiona is running a 2-for-1 loads special, which won't make any money, but will draw customers in. And then a customer informs them that one of the machines is leaking, and Etta says that happens sometimes, call her appliance guy. So Fiona is discovering like more and more that the laundromat is in disrepair because she keeps like finding more things wrong, and that Etta's pretty senile. And Etta directs her to a cork board with like in the laundromat entryway with all the important numbers and documents on it, which includes the check that Fiona wrote her for $80,000, which she has yet to cash, and in fact didn't even really remember was there.
Yeah, it was like on the floor. It was in a pile on the floor.
Yeah, and she's like, can you pin it to the board to remind me or whatever? So Fiona like pins it to the board. This becomes a visual indicator over the course of the episode of how Fiona's feeling. Then we go to outside of like formerly the Gallagher homeless shelter.
Clearly Sheila's house.
They're so like
Frank,
sometimes they're so good at like set dressing, and then sometimes I'm like, you didn't even try.
Well, that's an exterior. Yeah. Like I guess that's different.
But at the same time,
it makes me really sad.
So recognizable.
Not that sad. But they tore down the Milkovich exterior.
Yeah.
Like ahead of season 11. Yeah. So that's why the Milkoviches move in next door to the Gallaghers.
Yeah. It was legitimately like a building that was in disrepair that was falling down.
Yeah. I always forget that, Evan, that they put Terry into like season 9, episode 4. They give him a plot with Frank.
Oh, that
just
weird
so they can remind the audience that Terry exists 2 episodes before Ian goes to prison.
Yeah.
Because then when he goes to Terry and he's like Mickey's in Mexico, it's like, right, we remember who this is. This is Terry.
And he was asking for prison advice, and Terry says Milkoviches don't bottom, and Ian says, is Mickey adopted?
That
which is awesome
line.
Which is sad for one reason and awesome for many other reasons, but it's like, oh my god, he really disowned Mickey like that. He was like, he's not even my son because he takes it in the butt.
Yeah.
So Frank is outside the Gallagher homeless shelter, and he is dousing the entire yard with gasoline. Behind him, the family sneaks out, like the new Gallaghers, who we never see again. But they sneak out. By the way, Arden Mirren, awesome in Righteous Gemstones.
She's great. She's very funny. Yeah.
She was very like background character. She played Sean William Scott's wife, but she was funny. Liam comes and tells Frank that the school is closed, and Frank says school is for losers, but Liam's like, well, I want to learn. So, and like this gag's kind of funny. Frank is like desperately trying to light a match the entire time, but his arm is slinged up.
Oh yeah, so it's like between his legs. Like,
yeah. And Frank is like, oh, so you want my help? And Liam says yes. So Frank is really flattered, and in this like distraction of him being flattered, he drops the match or throws the match back and lights the house on fire. And wow, yay, that CGI fire looked so good. At the Ball household, the throuple plots how to get rid of Yvonne, and Svetlana says that he threatened to cut off all of their fingers if she told them they were married. So they're like trying to be cool with it.
Do they ever explain like why he even showed up in the first place, or like how he knew how to find her? Like I don't even think we ever get that detail. Just more so like he showed up and now they have to do something about him, right?
I'm not sure.
I think it's just like he found her, and that's what we get.
There's a possibility that like maybe he talked to her father, because her father is the one who sold her to the pimp. So it's like maybe he just knew that she was in Chicago, and like to be honest, the alibi was running up a pretty good reputation by that point.
That probably would have gone around. That's a bit more.
Yeah. But they're all trying to be cool and like pretend that they don't know that Yvonne is her husband.
This was so clearly the like shoving in the comedy like storyline. Like Kev and V and Svet get relegated to the like make it funny, like throw it over there.
To like yes, because it is very much played for laughs. It does also serve a higher purpose when it comes to their throuple storyline, because it plants these like seeds of distrust.
I was about to say
in Svetlana. Yeah. When in reality, I think for this Yvonne situation, I think she was telling the truth.
Yeah.
The entire time. Because as complicated as Svetlana is, I do think she had actual feelings for both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
She's just like a brick Russian wall. You can't read her.
Yeah. Well, and she sees herself as a smarter and better provider, which is why she does what she does. But anyway, that's not here nor there. So Yvonne comes downstairs and talks to Svetlana in Russian, and she translates to Kevin V that he is telling her to go upstairs and fuck him, and she starts like panicking. So she decides that all of them, the kids included, should go to the alibi and then figure out what to do. Trevor and Ian are eating breakfast at a restaurant. Trevor makes a bad joke about a muffin. They talk about fucking some more. Both of them are like looking for more variety in their sex life with each other. Cause it's weird. They're like they are boyfriends, but they haven't had the boyfriend talk.
Yeah.
Or anything. They're very unofficially, but they are definitely exclusive.
Like, and it was little moments like him going like, you did not order a muffin just to make that joke. That like, you're trying to make me
you're trying to sell me Trevor and it's not working. Like, I'm loyal. I would never cheat on Mickey like that. And you know what?
Cam was trying his best. He was trying his best.
I do like, and if I was Cameron, like in this time, and because the circumstances around like Noel not being available was just like straight up, he wasn't available. Like he had other shit going on.
Was this Ninja Turtles time?
It was like after Ninja Turtles, and then I think they were like, all right, well, we wrote him off, so we can't really.
It was.
Yeah, they were like, we can't really bring him back because like we wrote him off too hard. I like if I was Cameron, I would be like, I'm really excited to see how Ian exists outside of Mickey.
Yeah.
And in relationships with people who are not Mickey. the joke is on him because Ian is looking for Mickey in every relationship.
Yeah.
But no, like I think he was playing it as genuine, and I think Ian feels it genuine because Ian doesn't realize what he's feeling until he's actually in a situation.
Yeah.
So, yay. But yeah, Ian asks, and Trevor's never been fucked, even pre-transition. And Ian's never been fucked either, but mostly because it was never like a question. It was just like nobody ever asked to fuck him. In fact, they were like, your dick is big, you should fuck me. Which fits perfectly into my Ian thesis.
Which, like, the cash of it all brings up such an interesting, like, like, what do you mean?
Well, it makes everything so much more layered and so much more sad. But he also insists that it's because he's so good. Hashtag my diva with confidence. He's like, well, also it's because I'm the best top ever and they gave me the best top award. So, so Trevor, like, and this is like where I kind of start to have like issues with Trevor. Sorry, my feet on camera. I'm trying to readjust my seating. Hi, my toes. So this is where I start to have issues with Trevor. Trevor frames them switching up their dynamic as being sex positive, which is like, yes, but he's also definitely pushing Ian into something that he's not quite comfortable with. And Ian's doing the same thing. He's trying to push Trevor into something that he's not quite comfortable with. Like, they're both doing it to each other. But Trevor, like, manipulates it by saying, like, well, you know, you would be more woke. This is more sex positive if you let me fuck you. And so Trevor like meets him halfway and is like, all right, if it feels right, if we have clear boundaries, if it's not like you're just trying to fuck me because I have the parts for it, I'm open to it. And so Ian says, okay, well, I'd be open to it too.
Evan, do you have any thoughts, feelings about this storyline within the Trevor of it all?
I don't know. Like, it's like really interesting because like it's weird because like I can see Trevor's whole thing in like two different viewpoints. I can view it in a dysphoric manner of just being like, I don't want to be touched or fucked in those areas or whatever, and I don't want to be like whittled down to like what my parts are or whatever. But also at the same time, I feel like it's putting him in a box of being like, because he's a dude, he has to top. Like, he is the man, so like a man has to do the work. And I feel like, I don't know, like it seems like it's leaning towards more the latter in a way. Like, even though I know he does mention like his pre-transition not fucking or anything, but I feel like because now like this is a cis person who's probably not talked to any trans people as they're writing a trans person, being like, oh, this person transitioned into a male. Males normally are the ones doing the fucking, so of course he wants to be the dude. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's very different because like, no, I don't see it in a negative way. Like, especially what you said, like they're both pushing it onto each other. Like, their discomfort being like, okay, but like I don't, but like you still should let me do that though. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because like it's not like Trevor doesn't fuck. Like, it's obviously saying like he does fuck, but
frequently.
Yeah,
even.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I think it just comes off a bit more standoffish and weird because I think it's just these people think that because Trevor is like, I'm a dude, I need to be the one on top. But I don't know. But then that dismisses any MLM relationship or anything in the whole top-bottom discourse. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's very interesting.
Yeah, the one thing that's like really consistent about Trevor is that he does have like pretty severe dysphoria. Yeah. Like, that is one thing that's consistent across like the couple seasons that he's in, because he then has a fight with Ian involving Monica where he doesn't want to show his license at a bar because it has him pre-transition on it. And this like causes problems between like him and it, like an argument between him and Ian. But really the argument's about Monica. That's another
thing. I know it's like so much far ahead. That's another thing I want to mention too. It's just like, Homeboy is so far into his transition at that point. It takes 5 minutes to go take your new picture at the DMV. Like, there was no real like, obviously some people take long, some, I don't know, whatever. But I'm like,
he says something like, the bar makes you show proof of like gender confirmation surgery or something. They make you like show
But I'm
proof
saying like even just a photo.
For
like,
that
even
bar.
Just a photo, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not
yeah.
even talking about gender
And-
marker or, like, name change, because my ass doesn't even...
No, literally and literally his issue is that the photo is
Yeah, so
old.
I'm like, that's my whole thing. I'm just like, you can go take a new photo literally when... You can go take a new photo when you go renew. Like, it's that fucking easy. But
like, that's on you, homeboy. Like, it could have your old gender marker and your old name, but, like, you can go take a new picture.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, and, like, well, he says he's from Jersey, so I think...
Hey, it's so
I mean, I don't
easy.
know.
It's
Maybe
so
he hasn't,
easy.
but maybe
easy.
he just hasn't gone back. Like, I don't know. But
like, if you live in that, but that's another thing. That's actually even easier. I've moved to a new state.
To just change
get some new mail, go to the fucking DMV. Like,
I don't know. It's just, I feel like they were creating reasons to, like, not dismissing the dysphoria ever at all, obviously. But I'm like, I feel like they kept on emphasizing things that would be such an issue that I'm like, those things are not that, like, you could have, I don't know. Maybe obviously everyone's transition is different, whatever. I've had my own experience, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like when you're thinking about, like, a cis person writing a trans character, I'm like, so what are you focusing on, what you think would be our biggest, like, faults or our biggest hurdles as, like, transitioning adults or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, that is sort of where I'm, like, going in my head now that you bring up that it is cis people writing trans people, is that I'm like, there are some things about Trevor
that are like, I was like, damn, I'm surprised you guys are talking about that. There are things about
that
him
are
that I'm like,
actually, to me, that are like, when I think about the way that a cis person would probably write a trans person, that feel contradictory, because obviously real people have, like, a lot of nuance, and Trevor can feel one way about one thing and another way about another thing. But for a character who is so loud and proud about being trans to then have some of these, like, really, really clear boundaries. I don't know. I was just sort of like, because then when you're bringing up, like, oh, I feel like he tops because it's like a dysphoria thing, but also it's because he thinks that's, like, what he should do as a man in a relationship. Like,
so
I'm like,
is that his thought process? But then I'm like, is that how a cis person views a trans person transitioning?
Would think a trans person would think.
Exactly.
Like, because at the same time, Trevor is not ashamed about being trans, but some of his behaviors make it seem like he is sometimes. But then it's like, well, of course, everything has nuance, and, like, in real life, people do feel this way.
And these are the same writers and showrunners that had Mickey liking what I like, don't make me a bitch, Milkovich, like, in the similar situation. So it's...
Oh, we will never have a character as progressive as Mickey again. I'm sorry. We're never gonna have that on TV. Like, and the fact that he was yelling about taking out the ass in the street.
Have you ever watched Queer as Folk?
GLAAD Award.
Brothers.
I haven't.
Oh my lord, you have to watch it. Oh my god.
But, okay, here's my pushback on that. Queer as Folk very clearly a show about being queer.
Yeah.
Mickey was just a queer character in an otherwise pretty straight show.
No, yes, but these are queer characters existing in a straight world, and, like, the character of Brian Kinney, he, like, works in an ad agency, and he will still fuck any man that moves, and and it's like, the whole appeal of Brian Kinney is no apologies, no regrets, no hiding, but he's also not out to his parents. So there's, like, that, like, dichotomy of him. It's so fucking brilliant. It's so fucking groundbreaking. You have to watch that show.
We will never have characters like this again.
And from it came Peter Page.
We will literally never have characters like this again. And no shade, never on 911 on ABC. Oh my God. It will never happen.
Well, Peter Page played Emmett Honeycutt on Queer as Folk. He was like a queenie, wearing glitter, throwing around a feather boa kind of gay man. In the first season, he has an HIV scare and, like, almost converts back to being straight. And he's played by Peter Page, who has gone on to showrun The Fosters spinoff, Station 19. Like, he wrote the thing about Harry, that, like, gay rom-com. Like, he is keeping queer TV alive. Like, it's so crazy. All born out of Emmett Honeycutt from Queer as Folk. Crazy.
I love it here.
I don't know. I don't even know how to tie in this whole Trevor debacle of it all, because I don't know, because then he has some weird behaviors, like, you know, when him and Ian go to that bar and then they, like, meet up those guys. Like, I don't know, like,
are you talking about the Chub bar?
Like, I feel like his behavior
I was thinking about that today.
So questionable.
And this is one of those things that, like Well, okay, I think actually what we can really whittle it down to, and this is a trait that Ian has as well that's negative, is they're both very image obsessed.
Yeah.
And
Trevor
and
literally
they
point
just
blank says, like,
it just
we're going
manifests
to
in
make
different
myself
ways.
fucking feel better because I want a bunch of fat dudes to want me. Like, he literally, like, says that to Ian.
So then he's like, Ian, this is what you should do, because Ian can't open up about his grief. Multiple sources of grief, by the way, losing Mickey and losing Monica.
Yeah.
And then he cries getting a blowjob. Like, come on.
And
he cries after the blowjob, but it's really not about the shame of like, oh, I just fucked a fat dude. It's literally like, I'm so upset, and this is like, this guy doesn't know me.
Yeah.
And he's willing to just like hold me. I'm just gonna cry.
Yeah. I think you really hit something with the image obsessed thing, because Cash was the same way, Ned was the same way, and like
Mickey's also the same way.
Well, Mickey, beyond if my dad finds out, he will actually murder me. He does not give a fuck what you think about him. He does not give a singular fuck what people think about him, as long as they're not going to kill him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I meant more physical image obsessed. Okay. But Mickey
will fuck you with some dirt on. Like,
well, yeah, there's an interesting like evolution of Mickey, is that he's very not image obsessed, mostly as like a survival tactic. Because being dirty means no one's probably gonna fuck with you. And then until he starts messing around with Ian and he takes a showering.
Yeah.
Working it goes beyond working out in juvie excessively.
Yeah.
Like, because so he can come back and show off for Ian and be like, there's not a lot to do with workout. Like, he dolls himself up to go to the club. Like, and Ian has always been image obsessed, his own image. And then like when Ian and Mickey get out of prison, Mickey, it's so funny because Noel is in like the best shape he's been in on the show at the time, but they established that Mickey does not work out. Like, Mickey, in fact, makes several comments to Ian about like, oh my God, you're always in a bad fucking mood because you work out. You just shouldn't work out.
Because he's a happy husband now. Like, he's happy and settled.
Because he's on his honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so like, though, say what we will about Galvich, but man, their characterization, even though they get really silly with it in season 11, is freakishly consistent.
Yeah, it's so good still.
And that comes
silly,
down
but I'm
to
like,
Noel
but this is real. Like,
and very smartly influenced by like their circumstances and their surroundings and their journey as characters. Yeah. Like, they do evolve in their relationship.
Yeah, like, neither of them has like Jensen Ackles disease about their character, but like they are locked in.
Which I love, and they talk about that. Like, they don't do a whole lot of interviews because I've been reading up, but like they talk about them in such a way that they really do get them. Yeah. Which is just awesome. Anyway, back to the episode at hand.
God.
So
guy.
The appliance guy reports that the washing machine's in pretty bad shape, and like a couple of them are in pretty bad shape. And he told Wendell, who is dead, that the machines need to be serviced more often. So he probably told him this a while ago.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger problem. They can't just like replace parts. The machine is old, so it would be better to just buy a new one, which is at least $3,000 each because they're commercial.
Yeah.
Debbie comes into the laundromat and demands that Fiona come to the courthouse with her right now to sign off on her getting married, because Debbie is still under 18.
Yep.
And she's like, I quit school this morning. Like, we have to go to the courthouse. And Fiona's like, wait, you quit school? And Debbie's like, it's fine. The counselor suggests I take the GED. And Fiona's like, well, the test is hard. I studied for it for months. And Debbie's like, I passed that shit this morning. I only got 2 questions wrong.
Dude.
And we assume that Lip was the golden genius child. Debbie passed that no effort.
Yeah. That was like, that was such a moment. Cause like Debbie storming in and demanding it right now, you have to come with me right now, was like obviously so out of pocket and so crazy. Fiona wasn't going to drop everything and go. But like oh, by the way, I passed the GED without even trying, was such like a go fuck yourself. I'm not helping you. Like, Fiona, like the way that hit her.
Because she worked so hard. Yeah.
She has to work
but
so
then
much
the other
harder
thing
than
is
Debbie
like
for everything.
But then the other thing is like, we assume always that Lip was the smart one. I don't know. Debbie always did pretty well.
Yeah.
But so the appliance guy keeps finding a bunch of problems with the machines. The work he quotes her for that they do up front is over like $6,000. And even like, well, the thing that got me about Debbie is Debbie's like, well, you said it was okay if I got married. And Fiona's like, yeah, I did, but not right now.
Yeah.
So she keeps begging to come with until Fiona snaps at her and's like, not everything's about you. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Everything's about Franny. Like, this is all about keeping Franny. But then, which is like a sound point to make.
Yeah.
But then Debbie storms off and then she comes back in to yell about how Franny's going to be taken by DCFS. And then she's like, and by the way, Fiona, you're not ADA compliant. So you should get a handicap ramp out here because the disabled have dirty clothes too. And then she leaves and Neil like waves goodbye.
You got a point there, Debbie. You do got a point.
Oh, for sure. And then the appliance guy also leaves. Frank and Liam go back to the elementary school and knock on the door. There is like a janitor in there who tells them that there's a new private school that opened up and that parents are sending their kids there instead. And everyone else is getting bused to this other school like 30 minutes away. And they bitch about this because they're like, that school probably sucks.
Yeah.
And Frank is curious about the private one, which took over from the church/Catholic school that Frank used to go to. Like, they mentioned that he went to Catholic school, but I also think it's just they took over like a church.
No, they took over the Catholic school, which always has a church attached to it.
I didn't know if it was like well, yeah, but I didn't know if it was a church now and used to be a Catholic school.
No, like when I went to St. Peter's, there was like the Catholic school, and then like on the property of the school there's a church.
Church.
Most Catholic schools by me are like the same way. Like there's like a chapel there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. The more you know. At Patsy's, Sierra makes plans with Lip for that evening that sound very suspiciously like a real like date. Like the kind of date that you have in like a more serious relationship, because she says, I don't want to wear makeup and I don't want to deal with assholes. Yeah. Like, she wants to, like, be herself around him. I want to
just chill out with you and hang out tonight.
And just hang out. And it doesn't seem like the end goal is sex in this either.
They just want to hang out.
And then another server comes in and tells Lip that some old dude is out there looking for him, and it's Professor Ewens.
Question. Is this a different actor, or did he just take off his glasses?
No, I think they recasted the actor.
No, it's the same guy. He just got a haircut.
Sure?
He got a haircut and is not wearing glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It is the same guy, though.
I was looking
it's the same guy the entire time.
I was thinking the same thing about Ewens. I was like, I feel like he definitely got recasted at one point.
Because I remember the actor that played Ewens from another show. So I was watching him. I was like, is it just Clark Kent? Like, is it just that his face is different when he is not wearing glasses?
No, I really don't think they recast him. I think it is literally like he gets a haircut because this is when Ewens is like sober.
Yeah.
Because then later he does grow his hair out again and he looks the same as he did in season 6.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't notice the hair, but he does have shorter hair. And I legitimately think the glasses change the shape of his face. So it was like...
Yeah, but he's not wearing them the entire time in season 6 either. It's really only when he's like grading papers.
Yeah.
I think. So it's Ewens, and he submitted an appeal request to the provost on Lip's behalf, citing him making good on his rehab stint, and Lip says he doesn't want to go back to college, but Ewens suggests that he at least go to the hearing, bring character witnesses, and like to let them just expunge his record in case he wants to apply to college in the future, and Sierra backs Ewens up. She's like, you should do it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's something that he needs in such like a low pressure way. She's like, what the fuck do you have to lose? Wipe your slate. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, but like, ooh, I have thoughts about Lip that'll come later. But at the bar, Kevin V discuss more Yvonne options. They can't call INS because then they'll find out that V and Svet technically aren't married, and that Svet was never actually even really married to Mickey, which makes it all the more tragic, by the way. Because all of that shit happened. Ian going to the army, all that crazy shit happened, and they weren't even actually legally married. For Ian,
and that's probably not
Ian,
his
by the
baby.
way. Yeah, and for Ian, by the way, he doesn't care about hooking up or being together on the down low. He really doesn't care about being out, but he does care that Mickey is married to somebody else because he's already home wrecked 2 people.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do it again. Even if he knows that Mickey and Svetlana's marriage is loveless. Like, he's just like, can't do it. So it's all the more tragic, by the way. And then V and Kev start, like, arguing about Yvonne, and Svetlana, like, snaps her fingers, and she's like, stop fighting! And she says she'll take care of it. This mother.
Yes.
This mother. At a sex shop, Trevor and Ian shop for dildos, and Trevor's like, I just don't get why you won't let me use one of the ones I already have. And Ian's like, well, I don't want your gross used up old cock. And Trevor's like, well, that's what I'm getting.
Off. Look at that, I buy a brand new one for every single time. Those shit are not cheap, dude.
No, just for new person.
No, clean that shit.
That's still, they're not cheap.
There's dish soap for a reason.
No, they're not cheap. I'm not saying I agree with Ian, but that's what he's saying. It's just, yeah.
I did like that comeback from Trevor. He's like, that's what I'm getting.
Literally.
Right. Well, and it's like, and it's like, Ian, you get literally like the choice of whatever you want. Trevor only gets one choice.
Yeah.
It's just whatever you have.
The other ones could have like other attachments, and Ian just got that. Nothing. Weak.
Yeah, whatever.
Ooh.
But Ian has the best top award. So
oh my god, fucking! Did you see that weird like TikTok discourse of people like talking about like sucking strap and they like how some people like just like won't suck strap, and I was like, what is the world we have come to?
No, I'm not on TikTok.
I literally read a fic the other day.
Crazy.
It was a trans Buck fic where Eddie like absolutely fucking worships Buck's like packer. That was it was amazing,
dude. Like if you're not sucking silicone, like you're not having a good time.
Well, it's just like, it's like, guys, why? First of all, why are we even spending time discoursing about this? Because it's like, actually, what other people do is none of your business.
Yeah. Also, like, get into
but now it is because we're
fantasy.
talking about
What's
it.
wrong with you?
Also, it's just funny because it's like, okay, you're kind of policing queerness in a not cool way. Just let people do their shit.
Anyways, Ian's a little baby.
Anyway, Ian, well, and then Ian brags more about his pipe laying skill, and he says that he's made people cry from ecstasy before, Mickey. And I have theories on that for sure.
Mickey has absolutely cried after sex when he finally felt like safe in his arms in like seasons 4 and 5. Like absolutely.
Well, I think the first time he cried, he said it was ecstasy, but it was sadness. And then but don't worry. Season 5, the night of 1 million orgasms.
Yeah.
When Ian went over to the Gallagher house and was like, I wore him out. He was crying. Anyway, Trevor has some really big schlongs, and Ian is genuinely nervous to encounter them. Because he picks up like a comically big one, and he's like, something like this, and then Trevor's like, why are you going for ones that are smaller than what I have?
So we're working on the notion that Ian has never bottomed before.
Never ever.
Porn he did when he was manic.
I don't know if I buy that.
Porn he did when he was manic. He wore a condom.
He might have.
What do you mean?
He might have. Yeah, he was like, dude said he was clean. Yeah, so, I think that he probably did a lot in season 4,
but his little brain can't retain it.
Oh yeah, coked out.
I think he doesn't remember. Especially even like late nights at the club when he was like super coked out,
totally ragdoll.
I just think he doesn't remember. Anyway, or it could have straight up been like, well, no, because he does say bareback too. It's kind of ambiguous when they talk about it. He just says, I'm literally trying to remember the exact line.
He said the guy said he was clean, and and Mickey goes, he didn't wear a fucking rubber? Like that.
No, he said he didn't use a rubber. So like it could be that Ian did top and the other guy just like, and that he didn't use. But like the implication is that Ian got fucked for sure. Well, and then that's also why Mickey is like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Well, and that could also, like if these writers remembered their own fucking show, could have lent to him being apprehensive about bottoming, because the only time he ever remembers doing it is when he can only half remember doing it.
I just think he doesn't remember. Yeah, I just think he doesn't remember. Anyway, Liam and Frank arrive at the new private school, which is tricked out and has chickens, and it's like super Montessori.
Yeah.
Designed.
Also,
and
terrible security. He just walked in. He just fucking walked in.
Well, they're new. And Frank starts like yelling at everybody about like how the school sucks and like they should all drop it. And he's like, you guys, like, you know, God forbid you or your husband or your wife would send your kid to private school. Woke Frank. Because he's like yelling at this one woman specifically.
Yeah.
And then he's told to leave, and he tries to take Liam with, and Liam's like, can I have a chicken? Because there's a pen of chickens. And he goes, no, you can't have a chicken. And he like says a bunch of stuff in between this, but he's like, no, you can't have a chicken. These people don't ever want you to have a chicken. You will never ever get a chicken ever in your whole entire life. And then he's like, let's go. But he's like, in fact, they spent all the dollars to make it so that you couldn't ever have a chicken, to buy up all the chickens. At the laundromat, Etta is feeding her 500 cats and eating the cat food. And Fiona keeps telling her to stop. And Etta calls Fiona Sandy, which is her dead sister's name. And then the gas line lady, so she's just like super senile. And the gas line lady says that they have a leak in the building, but that they need to hire a plumber. And that the gas will be turned off until it's fixed because it's a major leak. In fact, they're lucky that the building hasn't blown up.
It could also account for some of Edda's memory problems.
Probably. So Fiona goes to the corkboard to find the plumber's number, and Etta eats more cat food.
She's like, I'll get you a sandwich. And Etta just takes another piece.
And she's like mad as hell that Fiona's trying to get her to
she's
stop
like,
too. She's Charlie Kellying out because she's like, why is it kind of good? Debbie is at mandatory parenting classes for DCFS, and everyone is like sharing out about their issues, and they're all like really bad parents.
Yeah.
But and at first I was like, oh, because I forgot exactly what Debbie did, but Debbie is right in the rakes. In fact, she might even be worse. Because everyone else is dealing with like addiction or money issues. Like this one woman like leaves her kid in the car while she's at work, like sleeping with the window down or whatever while she's working her shift, because she doesn't have anybody to take care of it. And then the other guy, like, has an addiction. He's like, yeah, well, I shot up, but, like, my kid wasn't even home. Or whatever. But Debbie was panhandling while holding her child and beating up homeless people pretty much basically for fun.
Hell yeah.
Because Fiona wasn't going to kick her out, really. And everybody told her that, but she did it anyway. Frank and Liam arrive at the new elementary school that all the kids are getting bused to, which is a shithole in comparison. And Frank watches Liam, like, immediately get bullied.
He, like, walks up to the playground and they immediately just, like, push him and take his backpack.
They're like, hey.
His little rocket ship backpack.
They're, like, 2 feet taller than him, bro.
At the bar, Kev is taking care of the babies. Yay. Oh, one thing I want to point out to you guys, and I can't remember what episode it is. It's like whenever Kev has his lumpectomy day or something. Maybe that's season 8. But like every time Ian goes over to the ball house, he says hi to Yevgeny. Just so you guys know.
He does?
In the background. Yeah, and people have been gifting it on Tumblr a lot lately. Every single time he like interacts with the babies, or Ian's in a room with the babies, he goes off in the background and says hi to Yevgeny.
Oh! That's his kid!
So Svetlana arrives back at the bar and she's covered in blood and she's got this big gash on her cheek. And she takes the picture of Yvonne and the babies down from the bar, like the mantle where it's hanging. She cuts out his face with a knife.
Well, she
and then
takes
she puts
it down and Kermit says, "Thank you so much, that was creeping me out." And then she cuts it and puts it back up and he goes, "Yeah, no, that's better."
Yeah. And then Kevin V obviously have a lot of questions, but she fields all of them. And then she says she's going to go in the back and do inventory. And then she kisses them both. And she's like, "I'm so glad we're back to normal." And she like goes to the back room.
Covered in blood.
Yeah, like she like changes her shirt, but she's still covered in blood. Her face is still bleeding.
Yeah. They're like, "Where is he?" "I don't know what you mean." "Where is his body right now?"
Like, is he alive?
Don't ask.
Lip arrives at the Morton house to pick up Sierra. And Lucas is staying with his dad, Chet Hanks.
Wait.
Yeah.
That was Chet Hanks?
Yeah.
That's Chet Hanks.
Holy
that's
fucking
Jamaican.
shit.
That's Jamaican Chet Hanks.
Holy fucking shit. Oh my god.
Who is in this show for
a really long time.
I would say even over a season.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, he becomes him and Lip end up being like broskies
seasons.
at one point.
Sierra becomes like important.
Yeah.
I had no idea Chet Hanks was at any point in Shameless. That's crazy.
Well, and that's Chet Hanks, Jamaican Chet Hanks. And and his character's name is Charlie. Debbie bitches that he's a drug addict, but he insists that he's in recovery. But Sierra's like stressed out about leaving them alone, or leaving him alone with Lucas, but Charlie's like, we're fine. And then Linda from 911 arrives because she's the DCFS lady. I heard her voice. I heard her voice, and she walked in, and I was like, Linda, mother. Like,
the sweetest.
That's
woman
all we
alive.
see of her, though. Unfortunately,
Linda, who they
we
brought
don't
back
see
for
her again.
dude, she still looks. She looks the same. Like, she still looks so good.
I mean, this was 2016. This was 2 years before 911 started. Fiona at the laundromat puts up a sign that says that it's cold water only, no dryers. Like,
what the fuck are you offering?
You might as well just close.
Well, you could wash your delicates and like hang them to dry or something.
I guess, but it's like
you're gonna hang there all day to wash them dry. You're gonna carry home
or like you
sopping
can
wet
wash
clothes.
your delicates and then go home and hang them up because like at least you have washed them. But yeah.
Get my wet bag of clothes. Home.
And then she gets a quote for $1,800 to fix the gas leak. And the guy doesn't really take check, but he says he'll do $17 if she pays in cash. And so Fiona's like, up Schitt's Creek, there's probably $12,000 worth of repair to do on the laundromat now. So she goes over to Patsy's, and the guy won't start the work without payment. But she's like, okay, can you give me like, can you start and then I'll go and get the money right now or whatever. Yeah, so the guy won't start the work without payment, and they won't turn the gas back on without this being fixed, and then like, you know, all this other shit. Yeah. So she goes over to Patsy's and she takes out money from the safe.
Crazy work.
In the back room of Patsy's, and then she writes herself an IOU. Frank is back terrorizing the private school again, trying to radicalize the kids into quitting so that the elementary school opens back up. He's just like yelling at people outside of the pickup line. And then the principal comes out and invites him into her office to talk. Then we go to Ian and Trevor, who are getting ready for their sex date. And Ian just douched, presumably for the first time, because he comes out and he's like, pipes are all clean. And Trevor's like, I have mood music for us. And then he plays X Gon Give It To You. And they both like rap at each other. And it's like, wow, Ian and Mickey used to be corny like this.
Yeah, but it's embarrassing when
the
they do it.
absence of the thing is the thing.
Remember when they're married and singing Ariana Grande in their bathroom?
This is one thing we've been saying a lot in my iMessage lately. They were taking their Glee pills that season. Because it's like not only Ariana Grande, and then they do I Will Survive over Terry's dead body, and then Ian starts the sing-along in the finale of The Way We Get By.
Oh my god.
Ian did not miss a dose of Glee pill. And Love is a Battlefield in season 5.
Oh my god, yes.
Ian and Trevor have another moment, I think, where they sing later. Ugh. Anyway, I know Mickey was upset that Trevor popped Ian's cherry. I just know. I know he was mad. Ian asks if it'll hurt, and Trevor's like, okay, let's talk boundaries. And Ian says, well, my boundary is don't stick it in my ass. And Trevor's like, okay, what's our safe word? And he says, ow, motherfucker. And then they establish a safe word. And then to decide who's going first, they flip a coin, and Ian loses, and he asks to smoke some weed first. And
it's a dick bong, too.
He was so nervous. It was like he was so nervous he had to get high.
Yeah.
Trevor, you will die by my sword.
I mean, that's like also just like first time nerves, like first time with this new person. First
and
time
like
doing
actually
this
the
new
show
thing.
does, and the show does establish that it's a positive experience for Ian.
Yeah.
But I have Trevor bias. So I'm like, you will die by my sword. Then we go over to Lip and Sierra. They're at the arcade, but she keeps checking her phone because she's nervous about Charlie and Lucas. And she says that she let him take Lucas for the night just because she wants him to have a relationship with him because she doesn't have one with her own dad.
And like, as an important point, Lip at no point is like annoyed that she's checking in. He's like, do you want to call him? Do you want to cut this short? Do you want to go check on your son? Like,
yeah. And then she destroys Lip at the game that they're playing. And then they order another pitcher of beer, and Lip orders a glass of water with it. So he's still sticking to his like rules that he set for himself after AA. And she commends him for staying hydrated. And he's like, yeah, I have to stay like sober-ish. And then she's like, well, wait, do you have a drinking problem? And he says, no, I just had a few wild nights in college. And then she's like, well, you could go back to college if you go to the hearing. And he sort of like shrugs it off. And then it's like, oh, Lip never knowing what he wants unless someone else tells him it's what he wants. Him and Ian have this in common. It manifests in different ways because Lip is very push back.
And Ian is very, somebody please give me direction.
Yeah.
And Ian is like, I want what you want. Or I want what you want me to want. And, but yeah, Lip is like, I'm going to push back and rebel against everything everybody thinks I should do until they stop trying, and that's when I decide it's what I want. Or if he does it for a girl. Always doing it for a girl.
Always.
So then Lip asks if Debbie is going to kick her out of the apartment, and she says probably, because it's Neil's apartment, and it's not big enough for all 5 of them. Like, Neil owns the apartment. It's not even like a rental, like he owns it. And she keeps checking her phone, and Lip says that she should call and check in, and she says, no, if anything's wrong, I'm sure Charlie will call me. I wonder if anything will go wrong.
My name is Chekhov, I have a gun.
Literally. Fiona finds out that Margot is at Patsy's, and she goes to chat with her, and Margot compliments the new menu. Like, she doesn't really, but she kind of does. She's like, yeah, the food's good. Whatever.
Seems to be
that
doing
weird,
well.
like, fucking mushroom burger.
Yeah. Fiona asks her for advice. How did she get where she is? And she tells her about the laundromat. She asks if she has any tips on how to run a small business. And Margot straight up is like, don't do it. That's my advice. 99% of people don't have the balls to run a business, and it just causes them a lot of stress. It's way easier to be an employee. And this, like, upsets Fiona enough to think that she can't do it. So she goes back over to the laundromat, takes down her banner, and then when she goes in, the plumber asks her if she has the cash for the gas repair because he already started working on it. And Fiona's like, you should go ask Etta upstairs because she's the one who owns it.
Yeah.
And then she goes over to the corkboard and rips her check up because it was never cash, so it's not like the money left her account.
Yeah.
Back at the private school, Frank and the principal bond over having strict Catholic school teachers. And she, like, tries to find common ground with him and is like, all right, so what can I do to get you to stop terrorizing my people?
Yeah.
And he points out that they tout diversity on all their flyers, but the school is actually very white because they just walk through. So she offers Liam a position full ride. And Frank's like, okay.
Oops, I accidentally did something nice for my son.
Easy. Yeah. Back at the Morton house, Debbie is bathing Neil and worrying about the DCFS inspection.
Can I just say, age gap weird? They're kind of cute.
I love Neil.
Yeah. Did we ever figure out? We did.
He's
in
his
previous
mid-20s.
Yeah, and but Debbie is still 15,
Correct.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Because how old is Sierra?
Sierra's probably around Lip's age. They're all like, she's probably 23, and Neil is probably around that age too. 24 maybe. But doesn't she say that? Does she say that Neil's her younger brother?
No, I think Neil is her older brother. He's just mentally stunted.
Because he was hit by the car.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was hit in high school or something. It was like he was a star lacrosse player. He was supposed to go to college for it, and then he got hit by the car.
He's her older brother who's sort of kind of her younger brother because of everything.
Am I tripping, or did he get hit by a cement truck?
No, I think I got hit by a bus.
Okay. It was a city bus. That's why he got a settlement.
Yeah.
Okay. If it was a cement truck, I was going to be like, it's Adam Devine shade. I was going to be like, that's crazy. Because Adam Devine and Zach Perlman are good friends. Anyway. He tells her not to worry. Well, because, okay, the DCFS inspection, Franny kept crying. The inspector was taking nonstop notes. But Neil's like, I'm not worried. You're a great mother. And she's happy that he says this because she knows that he literally can't lie. And then he says that he loves her. And she says it back. And he asks if that's true. And she says yes. And he pulls her into the tub with him.
Yeah.
And they start splashing each other, which was, like, kind of sweet. I was like, okay.
It's cute, but you still just go, eh.
Back at the ball house, Svet is waiting upstairs for V and Kev to come have sex, but they're both a little freaked out. Kev is freaked out because he thinks that Svetlana murdered Yvonne, and V is freaked out because Svetlana lied about Yvonne being her husband. So they both have lost trust in her, but for different reasons. And V is like...
I'm way more on Kev's side here. Like, the fibbing about father-husband thing is like, she walked in covered in blood. Did she fucking kill that guy?
Like, she told us... Well, with Kev, it's like she told us he was gonna mutilate us if she didn't lie to us.
Yeah.
So... And we have babies, like... But he's more worried about the fact that she probably killed him. And V is like... I don't think I have... she's like, I don't think I trust her enough anymore to have sex with her. And Kev goes, well, what does trust have to do with sex? And so they, like, sort of both propose the idea of going back to just being a couple again. But there's a lot at stake. They have the bar, the kids, and he tells her to just tell him what she wants to do, and he'll do it. So they both decide to just go have sex with her.
Yeah.
Back at the arcade, Sierra and Lip are in a photo booth together, and he's ready to do, like, they're like, they take a couple photos, and then Lip's like, wait, I'm gonna moon the camera. So he's, like, getting ready and, like, pulling his pants down, and Sierra gets a call from Charlie's neighbor, Noelle, because Charlie left Lucas with her an hour ago.
Something.
So, but it's also just, like, he left and he said he'd be back, and he's not.
Yeah.
And so they take off. Meanwhile, Trevor and Ian are about to fuck. Ian's still nervous, but then he says fuck it. And then he, they start. Ian has a good time. Awesome.
Yeah. It's like, ow, ow, oh.
Yeah, and it's in the whole time the camera's on this, like, trans rights poster. Like, in their room. Woke Ian. Dark woke.
Dark woke.
Meanwhile, Sierra and Lip rush over to get Lucas, and Sierra's super upset, and she blames herself because she knew that Charlie was probably lying about being 30 days sober, but he owes her child support, so she was, like, playing nice with him. And she laughs to Lip about how, like, their relationship, her and Lip, isn't casual at all, like they both wanted, because now he knows all of her dirty laundry.
Yeah.
And she tries to leave Lip to get home on his own, but he decides that he's, like, wants to commit to her, or, like,
it was very smooth, because she says, I'll see you tomorrow. And he leans down to the car, he's like, you will see me tomorrow because I will be waking up next to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So good.
And then she's like, okay, and she kisses him.
That's so Buck and Eddie coded.
And then we go over to Fiona, who can't sleep. She's still thinking about the envelope of cash that she lifted from Patsy's. Then at Kevin V's, they're having, like, relatively lackluster sex, in my opinion. And Kev is not getting hard. He keeps thinking about Yvonne and Svetlana cheating, and if Yvonne is dead, and then he keeps yelling, ghost cock, ghost cock, ghost cock. Because he's like, I just keep staring at his, like, he's like, I just keep imagining it, his ghost cock. So he decides to go sleep on the couch. And Svetlana, like, rolls her eyes, rolls over, goes to bed. Fiona is smoking outside the laundromat, and then Lip's, like, little dog runs by. And then we go to Lip waking up next to Sierra, and he shows her the photo of his ass that they took in the booth. Then we go over to Ian and Trevor, who are, like, basking in their afterglow. Ian asks if tea makes you grow a prostate, and Trevor says, no, I think you hit my G-spot.
So
Best
when
top
I remember
award.
hearing this line for the first time, I didn't know how to take it, as in, did they do anal, like, for Trevor, or...
No, I think...
No, Trevor says that they were doing anal. Like, Trevor's like, I'm
and
taking
that's
that
okay.
up the
That's
ass.
another
like,
thing I wanted to bring up. It's just like,
Yeah.
so are we having these cis people write a trans man and being like, oh, now because he is a man, he only wants it up the butt, or he only wants to be the top. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like Trevor establishes that that's a dysphoria thing, though, because when Ian brings up, like, because Ian does bring up, like, you
jerking
have
him
a
off,
vagina.
fingering him in the opening season, in the opening of the episode.
He could just be playing DJ.
Playing DJ, skirting down there.
But I will say, actually, in season 8, Ian does finger Trevor in a public place.
Let's go.
So
that's kind of hot. That scene was awesome.
That's unclear. Yeah, well, that was crazy. They were eating that Chinese food, and then they were like,
up against the fence all of a sudden.
Nothing will ever be hotter than Mickey and Ian on the docks. I'm so sorry.
That was so crazy. Like, that was crazy.
You got a boyfriend.
No, I feel like they were trying to fucking recreate that with like Ian and Trevor. Like, not even a season later.
They were sitting by the water.
A season later.
Yeah.
They were sitting by the water. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying, but that's the thing is, like, now I can look back at it and be like, the absence of Mickey is the mention of Mickey. Yep. But at the moment, it was like, you're really trying to sell me this knockoff bullshit? Like, no. But now I can look back and be like, it's part of story. So, yeah. Then, okay, this is like, we're coming up on the end. Liam comes outside in his new school uniform to awaiting Frank. And he says that Frank is a good dad. And Frank is genuinely very touched by this. Then at the bank, Fiona deposits the check for Etta, so she officially owns the laundromat.
And the lady's like, okay.
Yeah. I work at a bank.
Give a shit. And that is where we end. And the end credit scene is Frank teaching the kids at Morton Academy how to snap a chicken's neck to prep it for dinner.
Yeah.
And there's like no real end credits. Like, it was kind of just like instrumental. Yeah. Next time on Shameless, Frank breaks into the Gallagher house. Lip recruits Ian as a character witness for his appeal hearing. Lip fights someone in the street. I know who. Neil meets Derek's sister and mom, so our friend Ana Flores gets to come back. And Kev helps Fiona with laundromat repair, and she has a breakdown. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out is that Sue, Dispatcher Sue, is the woman who calls 911 on Ian in season 5 when he leaves Yevgeny in the car.
Oh!
Is she the lady who works there, or is she just like one of the ladies outside?
She's the lady outside that calls.
She's like walking around outside, and she sees Ian leave Yevgeny in the car, and she calls 911 and talks to him and is like, you can't do that.
Sue.
What else? I mean, Caleb is
and then
Emmett.
freaking the Carl's girlfriend, she's like in the sinkhole.
Dominique's in an emergency once. Yeah. She's the Hollywood sign one.
She's the Challengers.
And then I mean, there are like workaholics connections, but I think I've gone through those before.
Crazy Pants.
I feel like there's one more. I think there's one more I feel like we're missing.
There's probably one that I'm missing.
I'm sure there is.
Oh, just kidding. Mac Brandt, Chimney's paramedic friend, is in season, I think it's season 9 or 10. He's like he's one of Carl's like mentors at the police station.
Yeah.
He's a cop. And I found that and pointed that out because him and Steve Howie were in Game Over Man, the Workaholics guys movie together, where they played a gay couple who were helping heist the hotel, and then they started, okay, this is actually awesome. They were like so the hotel's being held hostage, Die Hard style.
Oh yeah.
But the Workaholics guys like are waiters who have escaped into elsewhere.
John McClane style.
And they're hiding and they're hiding out in a hotel room. And Mac Brandt and Steve Howie come in, and they're like, you know, they're partners, they're rugged, whatever. No one knows that they're gay yet. And then they like open the closet door, and because they couldn't hide in time, so Adam Devine is pretending to be like hung himself autoerotic asphyxiation style. And his dick is out, like full frontal for real.
That's his
like
real
his
dick?
real penis was out.
Dick and balls.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then they're like, wait, this is kind of turning me on. And then they start like making out. And then they're like, okay, like a quickie. And they talk, but Adam Devine's not dead. And then Blake and Durs are like hiding somewhere else in the room, and they're like watching this all happen. And Blake's character is closeted. So he's like, they're sitting there listening to these guys have sex, and Blake's like, no, he's sitting there and he's like, this is gross, right? really nasty, disgusting, and Durst is like, shut the fuck up, they have guns and they want to kill us. So anyway, that was crazy.
When Steve
So it's
Howie was shopping around on Shameless, because he like showed up on Sons of Anarchy for a while too. It was like back when Kev wasn't really getting really good storylines, so he started shopping around to other shows and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. This was like 2018, but he did also appear. He did do an episode of Workaholics. He played one of Adam's cousins in a later season, but not the last season. It was like season 5 or 6. It was like Adam's grandpa died and Jack Black was there. He was playing his dad. I think he might just be good friends with them. Honestly, because he's worked with them a couple times now. Or it was like he did the work, he was shopping around, he did the Workaholics bit, and then actually they did talk about him in their podcast once, because I actually think when Shameless was ending, they talked about it on the show, on their podcast. Adam was like, well, our friend Steve is on that show, and Blake and Durst were like, oh yeah, Steve Howie. So who knows, for real.
This episode,
connections everywhere.
It was good. It was a solid episode. I hated Trevor the whole time. It was a good episode.
Trevor is in the next episode a lot. I mean, Trevor's honestly just a mainstay.
He's gonna be here for a little bit
for the next 2 seasons.
He's annoying, but like
much.
It's not the worst. Like realistically.
Yeah.
And it's like now, because you know how it ends, you get to be like, they're trying to sell me Mickey Variant, and it's not working.
It was them trying to sell him to me that I was like, fuck off.
Ain't working.
Yeah, but now since it's all resolved, I can watch it and be like, you can sort of make up in your head, even at least, that like Ian is sort of growing more disillusioned by the idea of forever with Trevor.
I absolutely could not have watched this live. I could not have watched this week by week. But watching it knowing that Ian and Mickey end up married, okay, I can get through it.
It was tough. Otherwise, like, season 8 in general was pretty tough. Season 9 at least like had momentum to it because they were building up to like Cam's departure and Emmy's departure.
Yeah.
So, like, characters were spinning out in ways they've never spun out before, which is always interesting TV. Season 8 felt like just a lot of sideshow. Like, we're like, actually, we don't meet the Tamiettis until, like, season 9, but it is a lot of, like, Brad. It's a lot of this Lip and Zan thing.
I know Courtney Cox shows up at some point. I know Katie Seagal shows up at some point.
Courtney Cox is fun.
Courtney Cox was fun.
Did that for one episode.
That's a fun one. Lip is like a sober companion for a day, and she's playing like a Courtney Cox type. So she's literally like, he's trying to keep her from drinking
they have this awesome
the entire day,
scene.
but then he brings her back to the he like brings
and then
her back
her
to the
and
Gallagher
Debbie
house,
make out.
and
It's weird.
Well, okay, he brings her back to the Gallagher house, and it's Ian's last day before
and then
he's
she
going
talks
to
about
prison.
being in prison,
And everyone's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he's like, I just want to hang out at home because I'm about to be on guard for the next 3 years. I just want to like chill. So everybody leaves and does their stuff all day. But then they all come back for dinner, and Lip brings Courtney Cox home for dinner. And no, they have White Castle.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck.
And they're just like talking or whatever. And then Debbie's like sitting around because she's like, she's been like exploring her sexuality lately. And she like had a girlfriend, kind of one of her welding people. And then Debbie's like, I don't know. Like, she said that she doesn't think I'm like a real lesbian. She thinks I'm like a straight girl pretending. And then Courtney Cox like does this monologue and then kisses Debbie.
Huh.
And Debbie's like, whoa, like, I am super gay.
Weird.
So, okay.
That was fun.
Katie Seagal ends up being a Frank person, right? A Frank
Who's
love
Katie
interest.
Seagal?
Is she that rich lady?
Oh, yeah. Is that the
Yes.
lady who gets pregnant?
Hold on.
No.
Highly unlikely. She's like in her 50s.
No. In the show.
No, she's like the rich.
Yes, that's the
lady.
That's the crazy lady who steals when Frank steals Carl's.
Oh yes, you're right.
She's fun.
You're right.
So
Carl's
this basically is
dad,
like a
by the
Monica
way.
dupe to Frank. They meet at like he's like getting discharged, and she's like there to get like more meds or something like that. and then they meet, and he
Okay.
becomes infatuated with her. And her... Wait! Oh my god,
Yes,
another
yeah,
911
yeah.
pipeline. Her husband is played by the guy who is in the motorcycle accident
From
who gets
Motorcycle
literally
Crash? Yeah.
chopped in half.
Because he's also the guy from The
Yeah.
Office. He's like Michael Scott's
Do you remember
boss.
season
in
1 of
Office.
911
yeah.
when the guy like goes on that joyride and then calls his son and then dies?
Oh, I know.
So
no, I know.
plays
Yeah.
the husband of Katie Seagal, or the ex-husband.
That's so funny. She plays the husband of a motorcycle driver because she's Gemma. She's Gemma from Sons
Yeah.
of Anarchy. She's the wife of like the head of the biker gang.
That's funny.
Yeah. She's also... Katie Seagal is also in The Connors.
Yes. Yeah, she's
So-
Dan's love interest.
She's a very
Connection
interesting
there.
character. She's crazy though.
Connors is so awesome because why did Noel Fisher show up too?
Well, yeah.
And why did Tony Cavallero show up too?
And Carl
That was scary.
didn't
Ethan?
didn't he show up
Did
too?
Ethan? I'm not seeing anything.
Ethan was
on-
definitely in a few episodes.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And Bill Macy.
Dude,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
She just
They had
just
fucking
been
everybody
fighting
on
everybody over
here.
there.
Did they shoot on the same lot? I'm curious.
Well, no, it was after Shameless ended.
No, they would do it like concurrently. No, The Connors was 2018 to 2025.
Oh,
There was maybe
shit.
like there was like there were a couple seasons where Emma was
Yeah, I was
doing
about to say, I
both
feel like
at the
Emma
same
definitely
time.
was doing both
Knowles
at
might
one
have
point.
been right. Knowles might have been right after Shameless ended.
Because we were like, he's booked!
Well, it says here that Noel shows up in season 2.
So that'd be 19?
So that would, and they were sitcoms, so they were every year on the dot. So it would be 2019, which would have been
Between
around
seasons.
season 10 of Shameless.
Yeah, between seasons.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because he's blonde. He's blonde on the Connors.
Well, he's blonde whenever he's not. Yeah, he's blonde
Yeah,
whenever he's
so
not
it's between
Mickey.
seasons.
Okay.
Okay.
He needs to fucking work.
You know what's so
Sorry.
funny? Now that the pit is blowing up, people are discovering Redline again because Noah Wyle plays a gay character in Redline. So people are like, what
Really?
is this show? I was like, it is a show that flopped so hard that they dropped the whole season at once and then never advertised it and then never showed it again. Like, it
was,
flopped
and I
so
watched
hard.
it, and it was bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. But, like, it was crazy propaganda, and, like, at a time when it was just not... Noah Fisher's addicted to propaganda. I'm
really
sorry.
is.
He's
Freaking
really
even
addicted to
TMT,
it. But,
fucking
like,
dude.
it's funny because he plays so many cops, but then he also plays, like, the most delinquent
Yeah.
characters. Because he just played a serial killer on, The Rookie.
And, like, he's one of the better bad guys that SVU has had.
On Law and Order, yeah. And The Riches, like, that was a total, like, delinquent
He was,
role.
the bully
Stop
in
going
Max
into cops. Yeah. All of his most
my
iconic
God,
roles
Max
are
Keeble.
not cops. Like,
He needs to
And then
fucking
didn't he
work.
what's
Like,
the
I
weird
need to
Stephen
see
King
him on my
thing he
screen
did where
again.
he plays and
Castle
then when
Rock.
he gets like he's a security guard or like a jail guard.
Well, so he was like a CO at Shawshank that ended up like turning dark because I think he got possessed.
He gets
by
like sucked
he
in
gets
a vent.
possessed.
a demon or something.
Yeah.
It's like a clip of him getting like sucked in a vent and then he's gone for the rest of the season.
yeah, there's like,
Well, he
he gets possessed
I
by
thought-
Alexander Skarsgård's character and then it, like, kills him.
but he like does a mass shooting in the prison.
I never fucking watched
Yeah,
it.
because he's possessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho's
And this
yes, we need him
This
to work
show
again.
called The Calling that he did. Sorry.
We need him to work again. We really do.
This was a David E. Kelly show though,
Was
which makes
Redline
so much
a
sense.
John Wells show? Because if Noah Wyle was also in it, and it was set in
not sure about
Chicago.
Redline.
I'm looking. It was not. It was
Really?
Greg Berlanti. Well, it was Berlanti Productions, and
it was Noel Fisher
some-
and Noah Wyle in Chicago, and it wasn't John Wells. That's crazy.
dude, Noel's like second billing. Hey, was Noel the one who? No, Noah Wyle. Yeah, he's the one who kills the. Noel plays like the cop who kills
Yes, he
the
does.
guy.
Yes, he's a cop who shoots and kills a kid.
No, he kills a gay guy.
Oh yes, he kills Noah Wile's husband.
He kills
Fuck.
Noah Wile's husband. That's the whole crux of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to
Stop.
I need to
doing
get
that.
involved. Who's what agency is he at?
We gotta wrap it up. We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening. It's probably just for us at this point. We wanted to hang out.
It's
Sorry.
our
I literally
show.
just texted. I just literally just texted you both. I'm like, I miss you. Let's do it. Let's do an episode.
Let's
Let's
record.
do it.
Until next time, everybody. I'm gonna stop my record now.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.